Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridharadhari Yashodanandana Vrijanarajana Yashodanandana Vrijanarajana Yashodanandana Vrijanarajana Yamuna Tira Vadati Yamuna Tira Vadati Elora Madhoma Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashate Shatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasati Gauravakravrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. You know, there is in the Krishna book that instance is there that Dvijapatni Jaya, we're saying, no? That the Brahmanas are doing some big yajna. And then Krishna, what he did, he sent some of his, everything Krishna does, there is a lesson. And he sent some friends, he said, go tell them Krishna and Balaram are very hungry, you give something. Those Brahmanas said, no, how is it possible? We have to do this yajna, this offering has to go to yajna. They could not understand. Morning I was discussing the difference between so-called astic and a bhakta is big difference. So-called astic also is trying to imitate Krishna with the help of Krishna. Just like Yagnik Brahmanas. Finally they want to enjoy nicely. Correct? So they are offering some puja to Krishna. The focus is not on Krishna, focus is on themselves. Therefore, Krishna showed them. Correct? We were discussing that, we got an example for that. Krishna said his friends, he said, go to them, say, Krishna wants this. No. Because the focus, they are so blind in their, they were so blind in their ritual that they forgot the purpose of all the homa was to please Krishna. And then what happened? Krishna, what he did next to that? He sent his friends. The friends came back disappointed. They were very sad. Krishna said, doesn't matter. Because when you are a beggar, sometimes you will not get. So he said, go to the wife of the Brahmanas now. They are in another room, they are doing some cooking for the yajna. So they went there. And the wives of the Brahmanas, even though were not scholars, they didn't know hundreds of shlokas or whatever, but they had been hearing about Krishna from their other people. Just by Shravanam of Krishna in pure devotion, they had become exalted devotees. And when they were cooking, their focus of attention was on Krishna. Not like the Brahmanas, their attention was on themselves. And what happened when these people, the ladies, they heard that actually Krishna Balaram are waiting, hungry, they ran with whatever was there out of the house. So many places, even the husband tried to stop them, they ran. They did not bother. And they came with all the offering to Krishna, and they were so happy to see Krishna. So what we were discussing in the morning, there is a great deal of difference between so-called astic and a bhakta. We discussed this last Sunday evening. Now we got an example for that. You see there is a lot of difference. Because Nastik or Astik, both are trying to imitate Krishna's enjoyment. But only Bhakta is a person who is trying to make Krishna happy. Now this shloka refers that Krishna becomes conquered by a Bhakta, not so-called Astik. That is okay. That Pravritti Marga is a very long Marga. Go on, and very good chance of falling down also on that. Here Krishna is talking about a devotee. And Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada puts in the end, it's a wonder. In the Bhagavatam also, once in the presence of Krishna, Yudhishthira Maharaj asked this question to Narada. That the 7th canto of Bhagavatam begins with that. Even 6th canto of Bhagavatam is Krishna. And what is the question? He said, why is Krishna partial? Yudhishthira Maharaj asked this question. He should not be partial, no. He is the Supreme Lord. But I see he is partial. Seemingly Krishna looks partial. Actually he is not partial. Reason number 1. Whenever Devatas and Danavas fight, Krishna comes to protect the Devatas. It is true. Whenever Devatas are losing the battle, Krishna comes to protect them. Even in the instance of Bali Maharaj, Krishna took all the property from Danavas, who were headed by Bali Maharaj, and gave back to the Devatas. Looks like he is partial to the Devatas. But no. Because Danava never asked Krishna to come. They never asked. If both of them ask, then we can say. Danavas never asked. Their focus is how we can enjoy without Krishna. And they have no focus. They never pray. The devotees at least they pray. They are praying. And they are praying for the pleasure of the Lord. So this is where it comes. So this is one example which develops this. Mostly people have an idea when it comes to karma now, coming back to karma, they have an idea of karma mimamsa, which is a kind of atheism. Karma mimamsa means, if you do good, you will get good result. If you do bad, you will get bad result. Why you have to go to God? The so-called astic people descend down to atheism of this level. So they think like that. If I do good, I get good. If I do bad, I get bad. Why you need God? What is the answer? You do good karma, you get good result. You do papa karma, you get bad result. What you have to do with the nonsense God? Forget it. They say like that. This so-called Pravritti Marga people very easily descend down to this level of atheism. So yes, the reason is this. Because in Pravritti Marga generally the focus is myself, my own enjoyment. And God is a rubber stamper, that's all. I go to Him, He has to supply material for my enjoyment. That's all. And therefore, a ritual also, it looks like a punya karma only to Him. Go to temple, do some puja, it's just a punya karma for Him. There is no meaning, there is no focus at all to satisfy the Lord. So easily these people descend down to atheism. Just like so many people we discuss in the morning, an elaborate discussion. So many people, what they do, they think if I just help some other person, some poor person, that is my God. I keep to Buddhist philosophy. Tattva is Buddhist tattva only. Be nice, be good, that's all. So easily they descend down to this level of atheism. What is wrong in that? Wrong is that Krishna has to sign. Just like you want a leave application. You are working somewhere. You have leaves also. But the boss has to sign. If it doesn't sign, you will not get leave. Correct? So, you may have, you may not have. Krishna's signature is there. Just like a judge in the court. Because we are not interested in personal relationship to Krishna, Krishna behaves like a judge. Neither he jumps when he gives you some good result, neither he cries when he gives you death penalty. You think when they give death penalty, judge cries? He doesn't cry. His role is, he is withdrawn from the whole thing. He is very detached. That is the role Krishna is actually playing in our life today. But when a situation comes that, this is understood, that is the role Krishna is playing. So the people who are addicted to the karma mimamsa theory, they don't understand this fact. That judge is there, his signature is needed. Without a signature, nothing will happen. People don't understand this side. Huh? You got the point? Krishna's signature. Judge has to sign the file. Otherwise nothing will happen. Karma is involved in that way. So this is very important. This thing we understand. But what happens for a devotee? And the karma is hitting everybody impersonally. Sometimes you look at this life. There are two reasons actually. This life activities don't affect you. Reason number one is that in a trillions of lives that we have taken, this life is insignificant. So whatever reactions to karma that has to come from this moment till the end of my life, it is practically insignificant of this life contribution to the active result that is. Number two, Krishna also, the design is such, this life should not affect. Why? Then people only end up, just like let's look at people today. They keep endeavoring to improve the condition of their materialistic life. That's why all the karmis are doing. The Prabhupada wants the devotees don't imitate the karmis. Because we live among karmis, you're very careful. Because the only focus of life is to improve the materialistic condition they are in. That is called an animal actually. Just eating, sleeping, if I can have it a little better. I'm eating on a steel plate, if I can eat on a golden plate. And the idiot wastes his whole life on that. That's all actually. I'm eating on a steel plate, if I can eat on a gold plate. Food is food. So this is how actually people generally get affected and the endeavor. But actually, whatever good you do in this life, sir, it will not affect 1 inch of your destiny of this life. Yes, what is the shloka for this? Parabhavastavadabodhajatam jigyasa atma tattva, another one. That the karma, No. The shloka which talks about that the punya and papa anyway comes. We work for kalena sarvatra gavir ramasa taseva heto prayate takovida nalabhyate yat bhramatam upariyatah. Then tan labhyate yat dukkhavat anyatah sukham kalena sarvatra gavir ramasa. Beautiful shloka. What does it say? He says, yes. How did it start the shloka? Tasyeva heto. He says, everybody is endeavor. Prayate kovida. An intelligent man should not endeavor. For what? Nalabhyate yad brahmatam upariyada. Intelligent man should endeavor for something which you don't get by going up and down in this universe. That is pleasure of Krishna. Because people are roaming up and down. You see, like in the road, they are roaming here and there. Not one person is roaming for Krishna's pleasure. He is just roaming to change his plate from iron plate to golden plate. That's all. He is an idiot. Whole life is wasting his life. Mrityu sarva haras chaham. Not 1 inch will remain with you. Sarva haras. Everything will be taken away. But your whole life, all that your plate will be taken away. Golden or steel plate. Krishna is going to take it away. Correct? But he will roam whole his life for that. Tasyev heto prayate dukovida nalabhyate yad brahmatam upariyatah tan labhyate yad dukkhavat anyatah sukham. Now very beautiful thing. See, any one of us, do we plan for distress? Do we plan that distress should come? And all of us, many of us now, hairs are becoming white. We have seen enough ups and downs in our life. Anyone, we didn't plan that. Did we plan? Some problem should come. It came. Correct? Any of us planned. So when the dukkha can come without invitation, why sukha will not come without invitation? That's the argument. Logical argument. None of us invited, the problem come. It came without invitation. When dukkha came without invitation, sukha will also come without invitation. Why we should waste our time over it? So therefore we should endeavor for something more than this. Not endeavor for all these things. The sukha, dukkha, actually so-called sukha in this world is also suffering. It is only because of Maya's trick it looks happiness. Actually so-called sukha is also suffering. Because so-called sukha makes you forget Krishna, therefore it is also suffering only. Real happiness, we don't even know. We don't even know how much happy the gopis are feeling dancing with Krishna. We don't know. In fact, they only remember sometimes. Just like now, we may be feeling very nice when the kirtan goes. We feel sad for somebody we love. Perhaps he was here, he could have also enjoyed. Correct? We feel sometimes. The same way they also feel, because what we know, our devotion is only shadow, not real. They are having the glimpse of real devotion to Krishna. Ananda Buddhi Vardhanam, they are experiencing unlimited spiritual pleasure. So how much they feel sad for us actually? Perhaps those fellows, those idiots, what are they doing? But no, we are busy. Even if we are so-called God believer, our focus is our pleasure, not Krishna's pleasure. Both useless. Nastik and Astik is this word last time we also discussed, useless. So now Krishna has a favor for his devotee, because apart from a judge, Krishna changes his role when a devotee comes. Bit controversial, because judge should be impartial, no? Therefore Yudhishthira Maharaj asks this question, that Krishna is the Supreme Personality, he should not be partial. So Bhaktivinoda Prabhupada also, it's a great wonder, this Krishna's partiality. Yes, Krishna is partial to his devotees. These are all, you can't do anything about it. It is his choice. Just like they say in this world, a recommendation is there, they say it is not good. Correct? Suppose you are applying for a job and somebody gives recommendation and it works, nepotism, we feel it very angry. But Krishna works only with the recommendation. Where is the recommendation? Some devotee, just like Dhruva Maharaj was going back to Krishna, at that time said, where is my mother? She also went back to Godhead. Recommendation. It works. What to do? You can't do anything about it. Krishna works that way. That's it. But at the same time, Prabhupada explains two reasons for this. Number one, Krishna's partiality. That's what the Bhagavatam whole discussion goes on. Krishna's partiality is transcendental, not on the material plane. Chitraketu died on the battlefield, but he went back to Godhead. What is his partiality? Chitraketu was a Shuddha Bhakta, he fought with Indra. Indra won the war, but Indra is not even 1 inch compared to Chitraketu. He himself felt very sad after the war, that I had to kill an exalted Vaishnava. But Chitraketu was in the form of Vritasura at that time, devouring the whole universe. He had to kill him. But Vritasura was just in the battle offering prayers to Krishna, which struck Indra. He was shaken up. Whom am I fighting with? Because he's a devotee, he can understand an exalted devotee. Just like a doctor can recognize a big doctor. Otherwise you can't understand his prayers. He was offering exalted prayers to the Lord. Many devotees cram his prayers kantastha. Because other Puranas say, Bhagavata is a special Purana where the prayers of Chitraketu are there. So it's not ordinary those prayers. So it is recognized in even other Puranas. You see the favor, you may say Krishna favor, but it is not on the material plane. No, it is on the spiritual plane. It is a transcendental phenomena. Prabhupada writes in the purport, it is a transcendental phenomena. There is another place where this example comes in, before I go to the philosophy, the Bharat Maharaj life. Now Bharat Maharaj, what happened? There was no reason for it. He was in bhava, advanced Krishna consciousness, and chanting the name of the Lord. And it's so much so that all the ecstasies of advanced Krishna consciousness present in the system. Then what happened? It's just about to get Krishna Prema. Krishna Prema level, you can't fall down. Just looking. Like he is not graduated still. Degree has not come. Just before that, what happened? He saw that small deer and ran after. He became too attached to the deer and forgot his spiritual life. What happened? Krishna punished him because this is kind of an intentional fall down. He was not dragged, just like Ajamila fall down is different. Ajamila is accidental fall down, wherein he could not just handle himself when he saw that scene. Now this fall down is a little different. He took Prabhupada says, just because you are a devotee, don't think you can do anything and everything. From the example of Bharat Maharaj. I am the devotee, I can do anything. Look, Krishna did not pardon him. Sometimes they feel, I am the devotee, I can do anything, I do anything. Look at that. But Krishna still remembered him and partiality was there. Even though he became a deer, like anybody else would have become a deer, Krishna became partial because of his advanced consciousness. What Krishna did? He gave him the remembrance of his past birth. That he gave. And then, as a deer, he could understand, my God, instead of going to Vaikuntha, I am roaming like a deer now. And then he left his mother as quickly he could run. He ran to the place of the hermitage where sages are doing worship. He was eating the Mahaprasada flowers now, what he can eat, or whatever prasada. And he was keeping company with the sages. And later what happened, that he left the body, he died, and he got the body of Jadabharata. And in that body, now he showed his determination, but some favor Krishna gave, partiality, gave him the remembrance of his past life and what misfortune happened because of that. Because Prabhupada says, devotee as he advances in Krishna consciousness, his hankering for Krishna association keeps increasing. Just like we are hungry, no? People are hungry for what? People are hungry for food. People are hungry for prestige. People are hungry for money. In this world we see all this kind of people. And the most idiot is just hungry for food. He gets food, he goes and sleeps. Labor class. And above that, people are hungry for name and money. And Brahmana is hungry for knowledge. But above that is Vaishnava. Vaishnava is not hungry for all these things. What is hungry for? If you are hungry just for food, you are a Shudra. You are a labor class. If you are hungry for money, you are a Vaishya. If you are hungry for power, you are a Kshatriya. You are hungry for knowledge, you are a Brahmana. But Vaishnava is above all the four. This Prabhupada says very nicely. He says, Yogi is first class rascal, Jnani is second class rascal, and Karmi is third class rascal. Because Yogi just wants some power to, become famous in society. Jnani is just a useless tyagi from this world. And a Karmi just wants money. Correct? Therefore, he's third class rascal. Prabhupada, he can speak, we can't speak. We can repeat sometimes Prabhupada. So Krishna, as you look at his kindness, he gave the memory. And he had so much hankering actually in his heart for Krishna's association that life he was silent, whole life. People thought he was mad man. He was silent. He was the samadhi of Krishna. And towards the end of his life, once he opens his mouth to Rahuguna, that becomes some 3-4 chapters of Bhagavatam. Bharat Maharaj instruction to Rahuguna, further instruction, still more instruction, forest of enjoyment, 4 chapters, once he opened his mouth. So they say he should be silent, yes, don't speak nonsense. Therefore, actually you see what is happening today. One thing, people are roaming for nothing, and second thing, whatever they speak is nonsense. Therefore they should become silent. Therefore they should become silent. There's a mona, yes, they should become silent. There's so much irritation. You see all TV, internet, what all that is going on, that is called prajalpa. Prajalpa means we are talking nonsense. There are 2 things. One is called Swakatha, one is called Krishna Katha. Swakatha means people are constantly glorifying themselves. And Krishna Katha means they are glorifying Krishna. Even as so-called devotees, watch out this. What are you doing? Are you glorifying Krishna in your day? Did you spend 5 minutes to glorify Krishna to somebody? Then we say you are a devotee. Whole day you went on, people don't even know. Sometimes you go to meet, we'll go to meet some big director. 2 hours he's glorifying, I did that. And he doesn't even know what nonsense he's doing. Actually, it is a very unfortunate thing if you are glorifying ourselves. In a Vaishnava culture, it is considered very unfortunate. It's a horrible thing to do. But person is not even conscious of that. I did that, and you hear all that. He doesn't even know what he is doing. It's a very foolish thing to do. No gentleman should ever glorify. It's actually discourteous, we know that. Any person knows that. But they do it unknowingly. Because there is nothing else to glorify. You should glorify the Lord whenever we get opportunity. So you see the kindness of Krishna to Bharat Maharaj. This is an example. Okay? So what generally happens is that the karmas come and they hit us impersonally, without any consideration. Just like a judge, he doesn't see anything. Yes, you've done this crime, this punishment. But for punishment to come, some people say, why doesn't it come immediately? In fact, some people have this idea. I don't even know for what I am being punished. What is the use? You heard this argument? Now, okay, I got punished. I got accident and my back is broken now and I am terrible suffering. If Krishna can tell me for what wrong he is giving me this pain, that would have been better, no? No, what is the benefit of this suffering? Correct? What kind of rectification? Just like in a jail, I very much know what crime I did and they are hitting me with the lathi. At least I know what wrong I did. So Krishna doesn't look to be intelligent when he is giving punishment like that. He is, actually real punishment doesn't happen in this world. That happens, Yamudutas give you. This is not even 0.01% of the suffering which comes in the hellish planets. Not even 0.01%. It's real suffering there. When you are fried alive on a kadai, that kind of suffering can't even be dreamt here. The way the Yamudutas torture us, we can't even imagine. Therefore, when Parikshit Maharaj heard the description in the 6th canto of the terrible sufferings, 5th canto and I think 5th canto, end of the 5th canto. When he heard, he was like, that's why sometimes you tell people to read that. For what karma, what reaction is there. You will not get sleep for a few days. Even if a guest came to house, you didn't feed him, nice suffering. Nice suffering. You looked at somebody with a little anger, your eyes will be plucked out by some eagles. We hear that, we get frightened actually. So much is going to come actually. So when he heard that, he immediately asked Shukadeva Goswami actually, what can be done? And he gave various answers, that finally he said only devotion. So actually it is true. So why that means? So the one reason is that real suffering is not here. And when the Yamadutas punish you, just before the punishment, the judgment is there by Yamaraj. You are told what all you did. You are very much aware when you are suffering or what you are suffering. When you suffer also, you go in the purports of Bhagavatam, you are made well aware for what you are suffering. You remember your crime. Secondly, comes here. In this world is small. But why doesn't Krishna gives us a memory, I did that and therefore I am suffering? This question may come. Because if he does that, you will become a Punyatma, not hankering to go back to Krishna's abode. Why? Let me adjust everything so nicely, there is no suffering in this world. Krishna doesn't want that. He wants some randomness, some tamasha here. Because he doesn't want you to settle down in this world. You will do only punya and settle down here. Doing punya is not the goal of Bhagavad Gita. That is what Arjuna proposed to Krishna, no? Let us forgive the Kauravas. It's a great punya. Goal of Bhagavad Gita is not to do punya. Goal of Bhagavad Gita is to go back to Godhead. That is the Vedas may do that. Triguniya Vishya Veda. Now somebody was telling Vedas are higher than Gita. Answer number one. Vedas and Puranas and Mahabharata is written by the same person. You have to give equal respect to both. Correct? Now suppose you write something and you write another thing. How can I say this is higher than that? Both are authentic, no? If Vedas are authentic, Puranas are also authentic because author is the same Veda Vyasa. You have heard these jokers? There are these people called Arya Samaj. They were an organization. Arya Samaj organization. You heard that? They don't never worship God. They never go to temple. They say, why go to temple? So Prabhupada answered, if God is everywhere, why he is not in temple? What sin temples have done? So actually they have no argument. And they say at this point, they give so many kind of funny ideas. So we should be they say this point, the Vedas we accept, we don't accept the Puranas. No. And then in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, the supreme authority, Shri Bhagavan, Yamimam Pushpitam Vacham, don't get carried away by the flowery words of the Vedas. Krishna is warning Arjuna. And then also another beautiful thing Krishna is saying. He says, Triguniya Vishya Veda, Nistriguniya Bhavachana. Vedas are only telling you how to live nicely in this world, not how to get out of this world. Therefore, these Yajnik Brahmanas, where I began, they are only this Vedavada Rataha. They are only how to make the life comfortable in this world. Correct? Do some Homa Puja and be comfortable here. That is not the goal of Krishna conscious person. He wants to go back to Krishna. Now coming to another point, now some more points to close this. One thing Prabhupada says something very nice. He says the devotees have no desire to go to heavenly planets. But when you go to Krishna Loka, you see all that in between. You can, in that, say, you see the beautiful planet. Devotee is not bereft of any enjoyment. Krishna gives him everything. Just like, suppose you are working for, we told you 100 times, you are working for Tata, Birla gives you an appointment letter. You, whatever you are getting here, they will compensate that. A devotee sacrifices everything just for Krishna's pleasure. Correct? But actually, Krishna sees to it, he is not bereft of anything. Devotee, Krishna keeps him very comfortably because of his own wonder, spatial, favor, partiality. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that. What does he say? I am not partial to anybody. Samoham sarva bhuteshu namadveshi na priyaha yedu bhajanti bhaktya tesho apiham. He says, Samoham sarva bhuteshu. I am equal to everyone. Nobody is I am envious of, and nobody I am favor anybody. But, there is one but there. Prabhupada explained that with a simple example. Suppose a king is there and somebody drowns. He will ask his minister, somebody, or army man or policeman to jump and save that person. But his son drowns, he will personally jump. Correct? So this partiality of the king is natural because God is a person. So in this way we can understand actually the partiality. But people don't understand. Actually, karma theory is not there. I think any religion, nowhere it is there. Devotees, when they sell Gita around the world, and people ask them that what does this book has, they very cleverly say yoga and karma, because this doesn't exist in any philosophy. There is no yoga anywhere. There is no karma anywhere. You know, and this karma theory is not easy, to understand. It's very detailed. Sometimes Bhagavad Gita also Krishna says it is not easy to understand. It's very complicated. And it is only because of Krishna this is happening. At every moment, any situation that manifests for me, either inside or outside, it is by Krishna's control. Therefore, devotee has no fear. He is very peaceful. Rather, whole life for a devotee becomes an adventure. A karmi is scared of every moment. Just like a bad student in a class is scared of the teacher and scared if the teacher gives an exam. A good student having full faith in the teacher, and if he is studying every day, we rarely get a good student, and a good teacher are very rare today. But in case take that examination, today morning I was explaining this point. In the Vedic time, the teacher is glorious. There is a natural respect for the teacher for the student. Therefore, when a teacher speaks, there is a natural pin drop silence, and therefore a student also enjoys hearing. Today what happens, neither teacher is qualified, neither student has any respect for the teacher. Both are, combination is so wonderful. Even though we institutionalize respect for the teacher, you have to get up, you have to keep silent, otherwise you will be thrown out. There is a suffocation for the student. And the system is not working because the principle is forgotten. The teacher should be respectable, not commanding, he should be, not demanding, he should be commanding respect. And therefore it doesn't work today. Suffocation, they find so much suffocation. Because you cannot break the principle, it doesn't work. But if there is a teacher is respectable, students, therefore teachers should conduct themselves so nicely, the students want to hear. Then the whole thing is very smooth. So now what happens, actually, generally for a karma, for a person comes blind and it hits him. But for a devotee, a dam is built. But devotee, please understand meaning of devotion. Who is not using Krishna to imitate him like a non-devotee. Devotee means nirvritti marga. Who is wants to please Krishna. That is called a devotee. You got it? Karmi, Jnani. Karmi is trying to satisfy his own senses. Jnani is trying to reject sense gratification, so to be more comfortable. And yogi wants some powers. All are useless actually. First class, second class, third class rascals. Prabhupada's words. We can't say. We are now knowing. So but what happens for a devotee? He is special in Krishna's eyes because he is not a karmic jnani yogi. He wants to please Krishna. His focus is not himself, he is on Krishna. And Krishna, when he sees even little sincerity in that, but this cannot come without touching a pure devotee. Because for everything you need a role model. We have a pure devotee as a role model. We also develop that sense. That we work for Krishna's pleasure. Now, for a devotee, something very special happens. What? A dam is put. A dam is put. Karma, Krishna, wonder that favor of Krishna puts a dam. No way. Krishna personally takes charge now. Just like we gave an example. You know Manmohan Singh, personally, he personally takes charge. Otherwise systems are running. So laws of karma are acting blindly. But when you know Krishna, wait a minute. Krishna is personally in charge. Karma cannot come to him without Krishna's. The file now, Krishna is personally seeing. Oh, he's thinking. Otherwise, he is Anumanta Upadishta. But here, he becomes a guide now for a devotee because he is surrendered. He is asking, because he is asking Krishna, Krishna give me protection. Krishna, I am your eternal servant. Now Krishna looks, what should be done? Spatially, which is partiality, obviously. Krishna does it. And he may not allow. No, don't disturb it. Therefore, if Krishna wants, he can kill all the karma. Somebody is about to die. Krishna said, no, wait. Actually, our life is fixed. Krishna can say no. It's like Prabhupada was in America, he was about to die. He was very sick. He told his devotees, please pray to Narasimha Deva. What is the prayer? Our master has still not finished his work. If you so desire, please let him stay. He made that line, if you so desire. Because we should not take away the prerogative from Krishna. Therefore, we have some condition coming. We generally say, Krishna, this should not happen. Don't say that. If you so desire, Krishna, if you so desire. When Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada used to be invited everywhere, what he used to say? If Krishna so wills, I'll come. He used to say, okay, I'll come tomorrow. Somebody comes to invite you. Please come. If Krishna so wills, I'll come. I want to come, but Krishna has to sanction, and if he so desires. And devotees, all the temples, the time movement had just begun. And it had not taken the shape Prabhupada wanted to leave with it. When Prabhupada was at the time, now finally he was leaving the world, devotees went to Prabhupada, Prabhupada, please can you stay? Prabhupada said, I have done my work. That's what devotee is. Done my work, now it's for you. I left it to you now to continue from here. So the devotees are praying. So that is the attitude we should have actually. So Krishna is in control. But sometimes Krishna may feel that some reaction will be good for him. My devotee is becoming little complacent now. Let some reaction go. Krishna does not create our papa karma. Krishna never does it. Our own papa karma, just like a dam is there is something called sluice gates. They have some small sluice gates. Sometimes they leave water for Kaveri, they left some water for Tamil Nadu. Gates are there. So they leave little water. So similarly, our own karma, Krishna does not create papa karma. Our own karma, little Krishna leaves it for our good. Let him see little. He is becoming too complacent. Or this may trigger in him seriousness to achieve my lotus feet. Because he is forgetting the ferocious, horrible nature of the material world. If he sees it little, he will become serious. So sometimes, instead of your hand getting cut, one small cut. His body is like this one. Small thing. And there is one more interesting thing before we close. Two more. One thing is that Prabhupada says, now this is since beginning coming, I have been delaying. Once Prabhupada, the movement was exploding in America, so people started saying ISKCON is a brainwashing movement. So when they told Prabhupada, Prabhupada started laughing. He gave a very nice analogy. Prabhupada said this, that one man was deaf. So he was shouting at his wife, like in North India, they shout, Haji, Sunti ho, something like they shout. And the wife was telling, yes, I am coming. He was thinking his wife is deaf. Actually, he is deaf. He is thinking his wife is not. Wife is hearing him, she is replying also. But he is thinking his wife is deaf. Because he is deaf. So similarly, Prabhupada said, actually they are brainwashed. Many times people will say, we are chanting, they are mad. You are not mad, you are mad. Because you are mad, you are thinking I am mad. Actually, I am not mad, you are mad. You got it? Many people think I am mad. I am chanting Hare Krishna. You are mad or what? Yes, you are mad. Therefore, you are thinking I am mad. Like the deaf man is thinking his wife is deaf. So I want to tell this. So anyway, so Prabhupada says something very wonderful. He says, for devotee something wonderful happens now. Because he is being released from this jail of material world and going back to Krishna, sometimes in his dreams, all his reactions will come like zhuk. Because it has to be clear. They will come in a subtle form. In a subtle form they will come. And it is being, and devotee rejects it. Because what is the subtle form? Some idiot fantasies you have. Like this I'll enjoy, like this. And devotee just rejects that. Therefore Prabhupada said this is one of the reasons sometimes we get strange dreams which you have not seen in the life. This is for devotees, huh? This is not for karmis. Karmis, they are hallucinating day and night. For devotees sometimes strange dream comes. This is because it's being cleared of some reaction or some your fantasy. And devotee should reject, huh? Not that you enjoy. Then it is not clear. Then you are entangled. Because just like you are in a first class and you want to get a doctorate, you are in first class only. So and you are surrendered to Krishna. So what happens? Every 5 minutes the paper is coming. Second class, third class, fourth class. And devotee, because he has understood Krishna, he has understood everything, he is just easily signing up all the answers. This is this. So he can in a very fast speed clear all the examinations given by mind. That is. So another thing is that when we are enjoying the pleasure of Krishna consciousness, it is said when you clap in Kirtana, every time you are clapping, it is like you go below a tree. In a tree, lot of cowbirds are there, crows are there. When you clap, what happens? All the crows fly away. So similarly, all our papa karmas are like those crows. Crows is anyway, we can compare to papa karma because they are notorious. So when you clap, all your papa karmas fly away. Therefore, an astrologer should not see the hand of a Hari Bhakta if he is intelligent. We should not see because lines change. When you clap, these lines have no effect. Done. Gone. Karmas are gone. Therefore, even astrologer, if he is a good astrologer, he will hesitate to see hand of a Hari Bhakta. Because he is under he has taken shelter of Krishna now. Now what he can do, what is karma? Very difficult. Now his karmas are no longer on the, he is not on the karma kanda vichara now. He is on the direct personal supervision of the Lord. What is a waste of time? See, he can avoid that if he wants, if Krishna wants. He is on that platform now. Krishna can change anything he wants. Krishna can do anything. He is inconceivable. So therefore, in that way, we can understand this. So here, as here is saying in the purport, as you experience little pleasure in Krishna consciousness, in chanting and dancing, you know you are burning with that pleasure, fire of that pleasure. Tons and tons of papa karmas you are burning. Yeah? So actually Krishna consciousness is a completely liberated platform, but consciously, like Bharat Maharaj, we should not do some foolishness. Therefore Prabhupada says in Vrindavan, why there are so many monkeys? Because consciously, even though they come to Vrindavan, they do sinful activities. Actually there is no need. Vrindavan is full of transcendental pleasure, but still, purposefully, Prabhupada uses the word purposefully. He says Bharat Maharaj purposefully got entangled with the deer. So some people, even after going to Vrindavan, purposefully do sinful activities. Then what happens? They become monkeys in the next life. You see therefore so many monkeys in Vrindavan. And the Prabhupada says, but because still their stay in Vrindavan doesn't go in vain. After monkey's body to go back to Vaikuntha. So then we all of us should now sit in Vrindavan. That means no. Any place Lord mission is being served, that is Vrindavan. Otherwise Prabhupada ordered all his disciples, no need to go anywhere, all of you sit in Vrindavan. Prabhupada did not say that. Remember the instruction of Prabhupada. So many devotees wanted to be with Prabhupada. Our pure devotee Acharya, wherever he is, that is Vrindavan. What is the shloka? Tirtham kurvanti tirthani. Wherever he is, that is Vrindavan. But no, Prabhupada said, do something which will please me. So our focus should be, let us do something for Krishna's pleasure as guided by. Then we are directly under the control of Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki